So this is what happens in the morning when people are late to do morning minutes. We're totally unprepared, and our guest has come in late.
Good morning.
It throws us all. Oh, hi, how are you?
Sorry, have I put your knickers in a knot? My apologies.
That's okay. That's okay.
We're here.
Billy, how are you?
Yeah, great. Talking about tax cuts.
Is everyone all right this morning? It's just,
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right.
Thank God. This is the most candid start we've had to Morning Minutes ever.
How good.
How candid
Billy,
it
you
is.
sound fantastic. What's going on, mate? You got new suit?
It's coffee cologne.
New suit, new tie?
Coffee.
You guys ready to go live?
Absolutely.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. Just give us 1 minute.
What are you doing before we go live?
We're going to get some information for when we do go live. We've got things to show.
Do you get nervous about going live, Billy?
No, not anymore.
Billy is always alive. So,
What would you be nervous if I said to you we've been live the last minute?
I can see we're live.
I
I was like, no way, this is the intro.
This is what
Guys,
happens.
this morning we are live and we are late. We're talking about tax cuts, which have just come in 1st of July, and how they're affecting lending. It's the first time we've heard some great news. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Zac Constantino, the man.
Constantino, Mr. Novak.
Constantino, the man that constantly changes his appearance like a chameleon, but greatest mortgage broker in town. How are you today?
I'm beautiful, thank you. It's actually good to be sitting next to the fashionably late Mr. Drury right here. Look at you, mate.
Not today, though. Not today. No, we're doing all right. Tax cuts. This is a big topic because people have got more money in their pocket overnight.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
it started today.
Literally overnight. Yeah, first day yesterday. So what does it mean?
Well, I suppose a bit of background is important. The previous government, the Liberal government, spelled out the different stages in tax cuts, and they did the stage 1 and stage 2. You know, one pre-COVID, one during COVID, and then this stage 3 was already penned pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Then the government
Really?
changed, right? So they did a bit of a redesign, and it actually was redesigned by the current government to, I guess, weight more evenly to middle income rather than skewing up as high to the highest income brackets. So it essentially meant that a broader amount of the population, that our taxpayers were better off. I think the original proposal was it was going to impact around 10.8 million taxpayers.
Yeah.
And it's resulted in having as you said, more money in people's pockets, and those people being 13.6 million people on average. So what's gone into effect yesterday wasn't 100% of what originally was designed, but it's worked out more beneficial for more of the population, given that they were proposed in pre-COVID times. So the economy was supposed to be positively impacted when they were talking about these. It was supposed to foster a bit of growth. What they've had to do is do a bit of a pivot and, as I said, redesign it so that they can recover the economy rather than, pump up those upper echelons. So more money in people's pockets. What does it mean? It's between 4 and 6% in terms of net income back in people's pockets.
Yeah, wow. And I found that
So that's so for people. Sorry, for people that aren't across their tax, which is probably most of us. For people that aren't across their tax, by doing absolutely nothing, they're going to be better off 4 or 6% cash flow in their pocket, which significant amount of money into Australians' pockets for 6.8 million people, and then so now you're saying that's now going to kick on to being able to lend more because of that.
Yeah, exactly right. So I guess to summarize some of the tax changes, in short, yes, lending will improve, borrowing capacities will increase between 4 and 6%. And I guess that looks from what the changes are in that you've got your tax brackets at around 18,000, and then you've got the next one up to 45. You've got another one up to 120, and you had another one up to 180, and then over 180 was the highest tax bracket. Now, what they've done is that they've done a couple of different things. They've reduced the tax rate on the lowest income threshold, so being, the lowest threshold that has tax applied. So that's gone down from 19% to 16%, and that's if you earn up to $45,000 per annum. You've got a 3% reduction in the tax rate, which actually equals more around a 4 to 5% borrowing increase. Then you've got the next bracket, which is 45 to 120. They've actually increased the threshold for that lower tax rate to 135,000. So now, not only has the tax rate for that original bracket been reduced from 32.5% to 30%. When you were earning $130,000 last financial year, you were actually getting taxed at 37%, but now you fall into a revised bracket. And that revised bracket, as I said, used to be 45K to 120K, is now 45K to 135K. So that bracket's increased in terms of its capture, and the tax rate's actually reduced. So if you're on $120,000 last year, you were paying 32.5% tax. If you're on $120,000 this year, you're paying 30% tax. But if you're on $130,000, you've actually gone down 5% or 7% in tax rate, because last year you're paying 37%. This year you're paying 30%. So in restructuring the brackets and reducing the tax rate, it's shuffled a few people into, I guess, a more beneficial position. So net cash flow, because your income doesn't change, but what you get taxed does. Therefore, there's more in your pocket.
And that extra money that you've got, if you take that to the casino and put it on black and double it, then you've doubled your money again.
Happy days.
Not bad when it's free. But it's did you feel this was needed? We're talking to a lot of buyers at the moment that not so worried about what they buy, it's how they buy it in terms of finance, struggling so much trying to pull the cash together from the bank.
Yeah, and I think this will be a big thing, and obviously it's not going to happen. Like, it has been triggered overnight. It's come into effect literally overnight since it started yesterday, but it will take the whole year for people to reap the full amount of the savings and the benefits, because it's on the pay-as-you-go tax thresholds. But I suppose back to what I was saying at the beginning about how these were penned when there was no understanding or expectation of COVID and the economic decline that's been seen around the world. Now, in terms of the recovery, I suppose you look at the household savings rate. In the pre-COVID, it was on average about 10%, 15%, depending on what bracket you're in. During COVID, that spiked to, I think the highest was in whatever bracket, 30% maybe, on average around 25%.
Yeah, wow.
Now it's
This
under
is great
10%.
information, by the way. This is great.
And this is what it's going to help, right? Because there's a household savings ratio of about 5% at the moment, across the broader range of income thresholds. So people are feeling the cost of living. That's why this has been reshaped as, helping recover from the cost of living, helping the households with the increased spend. So it will help people get that extra savings back in their pocket, aside from helping with hopefully some of the cost of living pressures.
Yeah, wow.
So if you just tuned in, guys and girls, we've got best mortgage broker in town, Zac. We got Billy, real estate agent, Mark, me, a real estate agent, and we're talking about these new tax cuts that have just come through just yesterday and how they're affecting loans. So, mate, you're a legend. Tell us more. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, for sure. So to get to the improvement in borrowing capacity, in that for let's say someone earning $100,000, the increase in the amount that they can borrow will be around 25k. So 20, what do we got there? 23 to 25, yeah, about $23,500 based on the tax bracket that they're in, based on the reduction in tax rate. They'll have a little bit of extra juice in the tank, so they, on average, will be able to borrow around 550k. Then you've got someone earning $130,000. They'll actually get an increase of $37,000 in borrowing capacity, and then higher again. If you're making 150, you've got a borrowing capacity increase of $41,000, and then the last one. For reference, if you're earning $200,000 a year, you'll get an increase of around $50,000. So there are some significant increases to borrowing capacity with, as little as a 3% drop in a tax rate or a 4% drop in a tax rate. So the net income position will improve. Lenders are already pricing these into their servicing calculators. Not all of them have. It will take the better part of a month to get for all the lenders to get in line, but there's certainly some insight if you or anyone listening wants to talk about their borrowing capacity, if they've been on the fence, if they want to know what the changes are. So that's pretty much the crux of it.
And also, I think to put this into real estate speak, it could be the difference of a family of three able to get into a 2-bedroom unit and buy it than a 1-bedroom unit. So that 25 grand or that 35 grand could be enough to tip you into the next price range, and off you go into a 2-bedder. It's bloody massive. It's great news.
It is good, and I was reading something from the Treasury did a paper on what the intentions are around this, and as I alluded to in terms of the economic recovery side of things, the easing of cost of living pressures, they're also expecting a little bit more of to incentivize people. So on the lower and the middle income, you realize that you're getting a bit more for your money in terms of what you're earning. You're getting taxed less because at the moment, hours worked and actual amount of jobs worked has gone through the roof. Again, every average mum and dad or whoever's in the workforce is looking to respond to keep up their lifestyle or maintain their life in response to cost of living. You look at the average hours worked, it's actually gone up. Like, people are working more now than ever. Obviously, it's in our nature, but to keep up with the cost of living. So it will be a sense of relief, but there's also the intention behind it as well is a bit of incentive as well, is to keep the economy going, because I suppose that then reads into how the economy is performing, GDP, what the RBA measures inflation off, and how rates may come down. There's a lot of talk about.
Did you take a smart pill this morning or something?
I woke up on the good side of the bed, I reckon. No, just a bit of reading, but all the information's out there for everyone, but I suppose this platform helps.
Where's the easiest place to go and have a read at the moment?
I think on any of the government websites, if you want to know what they're thinking in terms of, how they're measuring inflation, what their outlook is, what these current schemes say, like, you can get these off Treasury, off ATO, off the state and federal governments in terms of what the budgets are.
Yeah. Stick away from the news a little bit.
Oh, look, unless it's this sort of news. What was I saying? So in terms of rate rises and rate cuts, obviously there's been heaps in the media about inflation going up again, and the RBA maybe responding with another rate rise. And look, that could happen. We won't know
What do
until
you guys think? What do you guys think it's sure? What's your what? Because you work with some alongside some incredible mortgage brokers. What's the joint opinion amongst brokers on mortgage rates?
I think that, you know, to lift, and this is my personal opinion. I think that it would weaken the economy more because there doesn't seem to be, you know, the strength in a lot of the areas of the economy that's being reported that would suggest that we have recovered. So any other rate rise would impact GDP, would impact unemployment, would impact wage growth in a negative sense, and it would weaken the economy. So whilst CPI and inflation has gone up for the third month in a row, year on year, it's still half of what it was 12 months ago. So I think it's just going to be another hold. Our house view is that it's just going to be a longer hold. Certainly won't be any rate cuts this year, but maybe by May next year is probably the current picture. But again, we're due for the data to be released. For the expectations on what the RBA's feeling on the data in August. That'll be the next meeting. There's no July meeting. There's an August meeting, and we'll really see what they feel.
Why is there no July meeting?
They've got to dissect all the data from the end of financial year, being the latest quarter.
Oh, I never knew. And that's every
So
year
it
they
was-
don't put rates up. No.
Well, it wasn't until this year they reshaped all the meetings. So I think there's only 8 or 9 meetings this year, maybe 8, whereas last year was every month.
Bit of holidays in between.
Yeah, a bit of holidays. There's probably a few of the guys over in Europe or down at the snow not wanting to work. But no, August is the next meeting. So
That's
we'll
interesting.
See,
Okay.
we'll see what the result is.
So before you go, in summary, new tax cuts through, which is going to help people out there. In summary, that's buyers can lend more because of the tax cuts that have just come in yesterday, literally. I find that, and that could really change the shape of people buying out there. This is the first good news we've had with lending in a very, very long time.
Happy new financial year.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
That's big.
Christmas in July.
Well said.
Very good.
It's great.
Anything else, Billy? You got? What do you got, Bill? What do you got up your sleeve? Anything else before we go?
I'm not gonna match that for the smart pill this morning. That was brilliant. Good info. But yeah, certainly this is I think bringing it back to real estate, this will be the difference of first home buyers, you know, getting from a 1-bedroom into a 2-bedroom, maybe a single parent getting from a 2-bedroom into a 3-bedroom, and a young family out of their first apartment into their first home. You know, if you look at it on a combined income as well, it doubles. So we're not talking about 50 grand, you know, for that upper income bracket. It's more like 100 grand, and you'll certainly move a big price point, particularly around where we are in DY.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Stunning.
Really, really good stuff.
Making Australia great again. Yeah. Making DY great again.
You're going to have a run in the next election.
Yep. You guys look like with the little flag that's behind you on your side.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming. It looks like political jargon. But thank you so much, Zac, for coming in. I really appreciate your time that you're doing this. And guys, if you need a broker, Google Zac and his details there, or send us a message and we'll flick you his details. But that is the landscape changing literally in the last 24 hours, and you're here reporting it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good day, guys.
There, boys. There, bye, mate.